the high school class of 2026, you're in a really strange position as far as your SAT or ACT testing timeline goes. And with this strange position that you're in, there is the possibility to make a very big mistake that is going to eat up a lot of your time and effort and maybe not let you get the ultimate score that you want. So in this video, I'm going to explain this very strange position that your class and your class only is in. And I'm going to walk you through how exactly not to make the big mistake that many of your classmates are going to make. Are you ready? Because I know I am. So if you're watching this video right now, that means you are starting your junior year in high school if you're in the class of 2026. Normally, as a test prep tutor of over 14 years and owner and founder of Ivy Lounge Test Prep, what I see many people do is this, right? You maybe start your test prep at the beginning of junior year. We hope, whatever it is, if you're an SAT person, an ACT person, you figure that out first. You use all of junior year to learn all the things you need to do to take your tests. And hopefully you're done by the end of junior year, but many students are not. And so they might go into the summer after junior year or even into the fall of senior year to, take those final sittings of the SAT or ACT so they can, super score to the scores that they need to then apply to the colleges on their college list. Now, many other students don't start at the beginning of junior year. Instead, I see a lot of people start to even think about this whole test prep thing like in the middle of their fall semester of junior year. So maybe in October and November, they're starting to dawn on them like, oh, I'm going to have to take like one of these tests, right? I wonder which one I should take. Let me start studying for it. But I have a lot of people, like I would say I get so many calls like after the spring semester has started and we're now into January or February or March. And now they're like, oh, I need to do this test prep thing. So that is what is normal, right? But I'm going to tell you what is different for you, class of 2026, and why we cannot have all those options at our fingertips for your year, okay? So for the SAT, nothing's changing. We have the same standard, test dates that we've always had. And the test itself has already undergone its big change, a couple years ago. And so now we're good, right? The SAT is what it is. It shouldn't be doing another crazy big change for probably another 5 years, I hope, 6 years, maybe. Okay. But now the ACT. The ACT is the other college admissions test, right? SAT or ACT. Colleges will, if they want a test score, they'll take either one. And they don't care which, it's just whichever shows off you the best. Now, the ACT has a long history of staying pretty consistent as a test. Like I've been doing this for over 14 years and they made little changes here and there, like, oh, we're going to change the essay topic. Oh, the science section now has 6 passages instead of 7, and they each have one more question in it to get to 40. And they make like little changes like this, like, oh, the reading is now going to have a double passage. And they usually don't even tell you when they're making the change. Like all of a sudden a test will pop up and it'll have like only 6 passages in the science and then forevermore. Like I think that one happened like in, I don't know, 2014, 2015. It was a while ago. But that was a big change. And then forevermore, that was like how they did the test. So they make small tweaks here and there. However, if you've been watching my channel and you've seen the videos, or if you've seen elsewhere online, you will know that the ACT has announced very big changes, like totally different format. Some things are staying the same, but a lot of very fundamental things are changing. I won't bore you with all the changes here because I did a 3-part video series to it. So I will link to that below in the show notes. But here is what matters for you, class of 2026, and that is when these changes are happening, okay? So if you are going to be taking the ACT, but you're going to do it like online on your laptop, which is an option, then the change will come for you April of 2025. That means like probably the first or second test sitting that you would consider taking for a lot of people would be like February or April of your junior year. So for you, when you're in prime testing, if you're doing the online test, oh, totally new format. What? Science is optional now? What? There's like different number of minutes and different number of questions per section. What is going on, right? So this is going to be a huge shift for you. And currently the ACT has, mentioned on their site that they will give us a practice test in early 2025. That's months away from now. So that would happen if you're taking it online. Now, if you opt to stay with paper and pencil, then you get a little more time before the big changeover. Then you have through all of your junior year, even the July test sitting, that it will stay the same, the current format that we have practice tests of, that we have, test prep books and resources for. And then the big change for a paper and pencil test taker will happen September of, it's basically a year from now, so September 2025. So, hi, by the way. My name is Kristina Semos. I am the owner and founder of Ivy Lounge Test Prep, and I help students all over the globe dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores and get into the colleges of their dreams. I want to ask you a quick question, and that is, are you even aware of the changes I'm talking about with the ACT so far? If you are, say yes, all good in the comments below. And if you're not, I highly encourage you to watch those videos very soon. And while you're at it, please like my video and subscribe to this channel so that way you will always get new information whenever I upload it. So as you can see, the changes are happening right during prime time of when you would be taking the test. So for an online test taker, it would be spring of your junior year, the test changes. If you are one of those people who, you bleed into fall of your senior year for test prep, unfortunately, the ACT will be changing September of your senior year, which means, well, here's what it means. It means that you have kind of a couple options. Either you do what I recommend, which is the efficient thing, which is let's study for one type of test, get used to one format, take the test, take all the test settings we need to get the super score we need before it changes, because then that's efficient. You're only learning one format of the test. You only have to practice one pacing, right? The other option is you still need a score, but oh no, the ACT changes midway through your testing timeline. And now you have to adapt to a totally new pacing of the test, which we have not seen yet, right? So it's like taking a gamble. So this is now the mistake that I think a lot of you might make, okay? And that is, I think a lot of you might not realize this change is happening and think it's same old, like, your friends who were juniors last year, your upperclassmen friends, or your older brother or sister and what they did. And maybe you wait a few months, maybe you even wait till, I don't know, January, February, like winter of your junior year before you start to think about test prep. That is a huge mistake for your year. What you need to do, class of 2026, you need to get started right now, like yesterday, but we can't go back in time to yesterday. So like the moment you see this video, you need to be figuring out like, okay, which test is for me, the SAT or the ACT? I do have a free quiz that will help you figure that out. It's also in the links below in the show notes. Once you figure that out, who knows, maybe you're an SAT person. You don't even have to deal with the fact that the ACT is changing because it won't affect you. Then you can breathe a sigh of relief, but at least you'll know. However, if you do this and you figure out which test is for you and you're an ACT person, then at least if you start right now, you will have time to prep for and take the ACT test sittings that you can, like through basically, if you do the paper and pencil version of the test, through next July. So that gives you a whole year, a whole school year's worth of test sittings to, prep for and sit for the ACT to get the super score that you need. Otherwise, what's going to happen is if you wait till like November, December to even think about test prep, and then you find out that you are an ACT person, not an SAT person. Okay, so what does that leave you with? Like you basically missed out on the October sitting and the December sitting. You have February, April, June, and July. But I hope if you're doing paper and pencil, you'd have those 4 test sittings still. But that doesn't account for, well, how much do you need to improve? How much time before February do you need to learn all the concepts and strategies before you take that test? Like November to February is only 3 months. So maybe that's not enough time for you. And if you wait, you can see how this is going to get worse if you wait until second semester, right? It's now January, it's now February, and now you're deciding to get on the test prep train. And you find out you're an ACT person. That one much better shows you off than the SAT for you. Well, now what's going to happen? If you're finding out in February, you have April, June, and July. But that's to take the test. But what if you actually need intensive studying or you have a lot to learn to raise your score to the place where it needs to be? You just don't have enough time. Or you go ahead and take those tests, and then now you are studying and having to adapt to the new test to then take more test sittings in September, in October, in December of your senior year. Like you could do that. It's just really inefficient. So this is sort of my PSA, my public service announcement that if you have just started your junior year in high school, you're in the class of 2026, please don't make the mistake of waiting to start test prep. Please start now, right? Start now, at least figure out which test is for you. And then if it's the ACT, now at least you have enough time that you could get started, prep, learn all the things you need to, and still have enough test sittings to get it done by July between junior and senior years. Before then, the test switches, and now you have to get used to something, pretty new and different. Okay, so if you need help actually doing that, so I've got a couple of resources for you. One is take my free quiz in the links below to find out if you are an SAT or an ACT person. That's the first step. And then if you are an ACT person and you're like, I better get started now because I want to make sure I finish before it changes and I'm not like learning a second format of a test, then I have a bunch of ebooks and online courses. They're all self-paced that will teach you all the content and strategy you need to ace all of the sections, all the multiple choice sections on the ACT. And I am available to work with one-on-one. You can also find that out by visiting my website in the link below. So please do not wait. This is important. I wish you the best of luck and tell me how it goes.